You see and hear me all right?
In living color. What's up, man?
Yeah, man. Good to see you face to face.
Yeah, right. And this is a good byproduct of the whole COVID life we lived.
Yeah. How about
Thank
that?
thank you for sending out the albums. I love it. What a cool black and white visual. Black and white's always a good idea. And you got a dog, and it just looks like it's the epitome of hey. Uh-oh, do we hiccup here?
Sorry, yeah, I lost you there for a second.
Okay, yeah. No, I was just saying I love the visual of the album. Black and white always works. You got a dog. It just screams, hey, I dig it.
Thanks so much, man. Thank you for checking it out.
Yeah, you bet. So before we get into hey, I want to know, how did you survive COVID? How did you make it through those 3 years now that we're kind of in this post-pandemic era? And how has it changed you?
Well, fortunately I was able to kind of move to teaching online. So even though performance went away, I taught a lot online, which kind of coasted me through COVID. And I'm still teaching online now. You know, it's less, but it's still part of my work now. So fortunately, it kind of shook out in a way that I was able to learn some new skills and apply them post COVID also. I also cut an album during COVID all alone. We talked about that some years ago,
Yeah.
and that was helpful to kind of do during that time too.
So with this new album, the kind of the tagline is you're stripping away complexities that typically can go into jazz and going for a more, kind of authentic vibe. Before we get into that, how did this album come about? When did you construct it? That kind of a thing.
Yeah, so the album was kind of on the horizon. I knew I wanted to do it, but I didn't really have the set of songs that all glued together until I wrote a song called Blockhead, and that fun it kind of served as the cornerstone, and everything fell into place after that. So that's the cornerstone of the album, and then everything was pretty easy after that came about.
So do you feel like the way that you approach making music now has changed since prior to March 13th of 2020?
Mm, I think the change was actually during COVID when I couldn't get together with people. This album is back to what I like. Everything on this album is a live performance. It was actually cut in this room that I'm sitting in, and no headphones, no overdubs, just, guys playing together in a room.
So speaking of live, have you been doing a lot of live shows lately?
Yeah, the performance is kind of coming back, so we've been pretty busy, and it's been nice to get out and play.
What's the vibe been like? Is there a level of appreciation and energy that's different?
Mm, I can't really say if it's different or not. I can say that, like, I think there is a taste for live performance, and people do want to see it. But I don't really. It almost feels like COVID never happened at this point. It's almost like a dream that we all had, or something like that. So, not a lot of reference to it anymore.
Yeah, it was like time was melty. It was kind of like that Dali
Yeah,
painting, everything just kind of blurred together.
yeah.
So what are you hoping the listener gets from this album?
Um, really that feeling of players in a room and it being a real performance album. That's the thing that I hope comes across more than anything else, because that was the intention of cutting the record.
So the one thing during this pandemic, and we may have talked about this because we've been reoccurring here on Neon Jazz, is that a lot of players had to leave big cities. You're in North Carolina, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So there was a lot of people that were in big cities. Rent was unaffordable, unattainable. Students didn't know what they were going to do. And people just kind of got away from the craft because they didn't know it was the unknown. But now that we've come back, do you see that the community of jazz is as strong as ever?
It definitely feels strong, I'm able to go see lots of performers. In my area, there are tons of really great musicians, and there's just like a huge surplus of art being made right now that I actually think there's much more art than is getting shine or support, and I'd really like a lot more people to get attention. Having said that, the guys that play on my record, Theus Jones, Robbie Link, Ben Palmer, Will Dean, and Gaston Reggio. These guys all have a huge amount of music, and I encourage anybody that's listening to this, if you like the album, go check these guys out because they've all got their own music. They've got tons of music out there to check out, and we all need support in the art community. So if you like music, go check this stuff out.
Yeah, it's interesting. I noticed that with a lot of players in Kansas City. I'll kind of see somebody sit in on a set with a big name, and then
Yep,
all of a sudden, maybe 6 months to a year later, they're doing their own gigs. So it's good how that can you can be kind of a beacon for them to get to another place.
for sure, and they can be a beacon for me.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So as we move forward, what do you got going for itinerary live shows? Anything coming up?
Yeah, lots of live shows locally. I don't have much regionally going on, but hopefully that's going to change here soon. And on the horizon, there's going to be more recording stuff coming up soon. So we're busy, but we could always be busier.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed about you. You're always very consistent. I always know when a Daniel CD, I mean, I don't know, but I'm always like, yeah, all right, it makes sense. This is what you do. You put out the music, so it's refreshing. So for anyone out there that wants to pick up, hey, your previous works, anything pertaining to your world, where do they go?
You can buy it on Bandcamp if you want to help support the music. That helps me a bunch. If you just want to listen to it, it's available anywhere. YouTube, you can check it out for free. Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen to music, it's available.
Right on. Daniel, it's always good to rendezvous, man. Thank you for always reaching out to Neon Jazz. I just want to make sure that everybody understands that you've always been very devout about sending over music. I love playing you on the show. So again, it's so good to see you and other cats out there now in this kind of post-pandemic glow because it was rough from my end of things to hear. But I will tell you that the jazz community was a medicine because when I really ramped up interviews in 2020, and
Yeah.
I'd have my kids with me and they would always hear on speaker and it was overwhelmingly strong and positive, which is I think the backbone of the jazz community.
Yeah, man. And I really appreciate the support that you give the music. Just being an ear to listen to it is a huge help and, greatly appreciate
Just standing on the shoulders of giants, my man.
it. I hear you.
Daniel, thank you, sir. Send my best to North Carolina and we'll talk to you again.
I'll do it. Thank you so much.
Cheers.
All right, man. Take it easy.